Hello there, Salim Omar here from Talk CPAs. I am delighted to have the guest that we have. His name is Patrick Kagan. Patrick, welcome.
Hey, Celine, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Awesome. I'm really excited because Kagan is a business coach. He's the author of the book, Still the Difference, the ultimate guide to increase sales, profits, and satisfaction. He's built, led, and grown sales organizations for 30 plus years from Fortune 500 to mom and pop organizations. So, Patrick, let's just dive in and I'll ask you as my first question. You can take a minute or so, share with us your backstory.
Yeah, that would be great. So I have worked at Fortune 500 companies, places like Hewlett Packard or Procter and Gamble, NCH Corporation, large global companies, as well as worked for small organizations. And for the last 15 years, I've enjoyed being a solopreneur on my own. So I've worked the full gamut and I've had really great experiences along the way at each type of company. So I never left corporate America or corporate, I guess, globe in a disgruntled fashion as much as I always had the entrepreneurial drive. And I found that I enjoyed being very nimble and very quick and responsive and ultimately applying the principles of differentiation to my clients and for my clients. And as a result, what's a really cool thing when you start perfecting differentiation is that clients from many walks of your life, Fortune 500, mom and pop organizations are on your own, they bring you with them wherever they go and in whatever capacity you operate. So that's when you know you've made a difference. And so that led me to my book, Sell the Difference, because what does every business want, especially every small business? They want to increase their sales, they want to increase their profits, and they want to increase their customer satisfaction. And without that, they go out of business very quickly. So that's kind of my backstory, and that's where I'm at today.
It's awesome. Yeah. And I love the topic, your expertise in what you share and teach, differentiation. Let's give us an overview of what can differentiation do for the small business owner, the entrepreneur who's a certain amount in revenues, wants to get to that next level in terms of revenues, profits, impact for their clients, customers, patients.
Yeah, and that's a great question. And what can it do? What it will do is actually get you to those levels. So when goals are set, we want to grow the top line 25%. We want to grow the bottom line 25%. You'll actually experience that. And many times people set goals thinking, well, they're goals, I won't hit them, but I'll come close or something might happen. So I always talk about what you're going to create for yourself as a small business is what I call the Jiminy Cricket effect. And so Jiminy Cricket, the story of Jiminy Cricket and Pinocchio is he was the conscious, the little voice that told the truth and said what you should do. And when you did it, you stayed out of trouble. Jiminy Cricket effect in business and small business and in sales is really when your customer stays awake at night and they're worried about their business and they see you the next morning, the first question they ask you is, why should we do business with you? Because they're expecting a lot of the same things. We've been in business for 25 years. We're locally owned, national distribution, blah, blah, blah. It all sounds the same. They put you on mute. You're speaking on mute. The Jiminy Cricket effect changes that, where your customer, when they stay awake at night, they're thinking about you. And the question they ask is no longer, why should we do business with you? But why haven't we been doing business with you all along? And
Mm,
it's because customers have high expectations. Differentiation occurs in the customer's mind long before it occurs in the salesperson or the business owner's world in reality. So, what our book will help build the skills to do is sell with the customer mindset, and results will grow. And you will actually, what it will do for you is create that top line growth, the bottom line growth, and customer satisfaction. And customer satisfaction is a hard one to quantify, but think about never having to advertise your business again because your customers are so happy. They stay with you and they bring you with them everywhere they go and they refer you to all their friends. That's what this will do for you.
So, what are some of the things that a business owner, entrepreneur should be thinking about when it comes to differentiation? How do they differentiate
Yeah.
their business?
Yeah. It's a great question. There's a lot of resources within our book that will walk people through what does it look like when you get there? How does it sound? What does it look like along the way? But the main thing, I guess, for most people to think about is that they understand the concept of differentiation. They know it needs to be done. They attempt to differentiate themselves when they're in front of their clients or their prospective clients. What they're actually doing when they're speaking to those clients is talking about what I call comparability factors. And it's everything that I do that makes me comparable to somebody else, but I think it's unique. I've been in business for 25 years. I'm locally owned. I have nationwide distribution. I use recycled products. When you say something that you think is unique, but actually sounds like others, that to me is again like you're in a Zoom presentation and the moderator puts you on mute, but you keep talking. It's ineffective.
Mm.
What you rather would talk about are things that are distinguishable or the distinguishability factors, things that make you unique, but your customer decides what makes you unique. And so you need to, as a salesperson, consider what the customer says is the problem they have versus what is the problem they have. Many salespeople don't want to approach this and say, that's really a symptom of a problem. The greater problem might be further out within the organization. Let me take a look at your structure and give me 2 days, and I'll come back and answer your question and tell you if I've discovered that what you described to me is the problem or what I've found is a bigger problem causing this symptom to happen. You have to be confident that there might be bigger problems.
Mm.
So our book is built on really what I call the 4 disciplines of differentiation. And people who are small business owners will understand this exactly. And I don't advocate hating anything, but my first discipline, I use the word hate to make my point. You have to hate your current situation so much that you're willing to do something about it. In other words, that pain is so great, I'm going to do anything I can to change it. Most people, when they hate their current situation, I've lost sales, I'm losing income, I'm losing customers, I'm not reaching my top line or bottom line goals. If they wait for it to get better, they're waiting to go out of business. So
Mm.
hate your current situation so much on the inside that you're willing to do something positive on the outside. The other thing then is to inspect what you expect. That's the second discipline. And by that, what I mean is if I expect to grow my top line 25%, I need to be monitoring that. I need to be measuring that. I need to have that be what we talk about between leadership and between other employees. Even as a solopreneur, I can't just set a goal and walk away. I have to look at it and inspect what I'm expecting to happen. The third discipline of differentiation is you have to do this on a daily basis. Differentiation is a very important skill. It's not a natural skill. We tend to learn by modeled behavior. So we tend to go out and repeat what has been modeled to us, which may be incorrect. And so we have to literally wake up and begin our thought process, our mindset about differentiation first for ourselves and then for the world around us. And then finally, the fourth discipline is you have to practice patience. Whenever you're learning a new skill, it isn't natural. It's very easy to go back to old habits, but old habits will get you back into that rabbit hole of poor results.
Got it. Yeah. Like one hears a lot about sell the benefits, not the features. How's differentiation different from that? Or is it the same as benefits selling?
Well, that's a great question. And a lot of folks do get a little wrapped around the idea of features and benefits. And sometimes when you describe a feature as a salesperson or as a business owner, you believe you're describing a benefit. And so a couple of really key words to make sure that you are benefit selling should be this, we are locally owned. What that means to you is, a lead into a benefit statement. Leaving we're locally owned out there doesn't say anything. It's a feature. Differentiation is not benefit selling. It is using benefits to sell, but differentiation is truly, again, in the mind of the buyer, what makes you different. So when I tell you my sales are down and I need you to fix my sales system, And I start responding to that as a salesperson. My customer just told me their sales are down. I'm going to go fix that. And they're going to lay out everything they have in front of them for me to go look at and come back with a solution. They're also going to do that with 5 to 6 to 7 other companies just like me. And they're going to go to the larger organizations, and small businesses really have a hard time keeping up with larger businesses because in their mind, they are not equivalent to that large business. So you're competing not only with other small businesses, but then with the large organizations, ultimately with yourself. So differentiation is then stepping inside of what is the customer really asking me? Fix the greater problem. And the way I do that is I don't treat the symptoms that they describe. I look for the bigger problem. They may have described the bigger problem, but I'm going to confirm that. So, you know, think of differentiation kind of like I use the David and Goliath analogy. So we all know the story of David and Goliath, and David beats the giant. But if you were back in those days and you see these two come out to represent their sides and they're going to fight each other, and there's Goliath and then there's David, and you hit pause, if you're a betting person, you're going to bet on Goliath because of what you see. And
Right.
small businesses bring into every situation what they know from the past, which can be limiting. But David differentiated himself, defended himself, and used a slingshot and a pebble and won. And so the whole idea of mindset leads to differentiation. So differentiation does include benefit selling, but benefit selling is not differentiating yourself.
Benefit selling in itself is not a differentiator. You mentioned mindset. Trying to get my head around it. What are like a few things a business owner can do to start, to get in the, to move in the direction of starting to differentiate their business? Is it having open conversations with their prospects, clients, and just finding out what are the real needs and wants compared to what the client may be telling them?
Yeah, it's excellent. And Salim, it almost sounds like you've read my book. There's some things in there, but the open dialogue does have to do not with necessarily the situation at the time. So in our book, we talk about have a profile of what an ideal customer looks like, sounds like, behaves like. What is their atmosphere like? Those that value solution-based selling and looking beyond and bringing solutions and creativity into the equation, those are customers that might make your ideal client list. Now, the open conversation with that customer or prospect, you need to be able to find out from them, what does an ideal salesperson act like and look like and sound like to you? Many people sell to them. They have to buy something to make their job flow, but they don't always deal with the correct person. So think of sales like getting a college degree. The person who graduates with honors at the top of the class and the person who barely gets by, their diploma looks the same, but there's a difference between them. Now, it's up to both of them to illustrate their difference because they have the same diploma. So I have a session I do, and I'll have new dates available for the 2023 season, which is in order to grow your business, you really need to know your business. And it's really digging into understand your business and what makes it work. Understand what you're measuring, because what you measure will grow. Make sure you measure the right things. So this is all about key performance indicators. And so when people say we want to grow our business, we want to grow our profits, we want to grow our sales, you need to dig into that. There's some reason they said that. They may believe they have a problem. I had a customer, and this is illustrated in my book, that thought because their sales numbers were down on the top that they were in trouble. They behaved like they were in trouble. And when I dug into this, they were more profitable than they'd ever been. They had some bad business. They needed an outsider like myself to help them see that and then to form a new strategy, because most people have a bias towards action, which means they're tactical, they're not strategic. And when that happens, now they believe they're being strategic. So they say sales are down. Let's have a sales contest. Let's get out and make 25 calls a day instead of 10 calls a day. Let's create a newsletter. Let's write a blog. All that stuff is tactical.
Right.
It would be like if you and I were taking a driving trip to Florida. We want to go to Florida. That's the strategy. Now, the tactic, how do we get there? We can walk,
Right.
we can run, we can ride a bike, drive a car, fly a plane. Tactics can get us there. Now imagine we're in the car, we're driving there. That's our tactic. And you blindfold me. Well, suddenly my tactics could have a harmful effect. I start turning left and right and accelerating and braking. Those are tactics. But my strategy, I want to go to Florida with Salim, never changes.
Mm.
So it is adjusting. And most people say, well, sales are down. We have to do something to boost it. Let's make more calls. Let's do this. You have to step back. You have to literally force yourself into what again, earlier, I talked about the 4 disciplines, acting daily.
Yeah, I was going to go back to that.
You got to practice daily. And, you think about it, most people take better care of their smartphones than they do themselves or their business. You never let your smartphone charge down. You get extra chargers. First thing you do when you wake up, you look at your smartphone. It probably wakes you up in the middle of the night with some alarm or some notice or some post or some like. Treat yourself better than your smartphone, and you'll be amazed at how well your business can do. And our book is full of ways to do this. So this is not a book that is about get rich quick or tricky tactics to make people buy. That doesn't work. You will get rich. You will get rich for the long haul, but this book is about building abundance in your business and abundance in your life. Abundance doesn't have to do with dollars or wealth. Abundance has to do with happiness and gratitude and inclusion, and business is part of all that, but it's a bigger picture, and it is a roadmap to get there. So I'm not trying to dodge the questions as much as there's a lot within the book that goes into greater detail than I can do in a short podcast.
Yeah. No, this has been great. And I'm looking at the clock as well, and we are kind of towards the tail end. So tell us, how can people reach out to us? And then I'm going to end it off with kind of a bigger question of what should I have asked you that I didn't ask you? But before we go to that question, let us know, how can folks reach out to you or get the book? What's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, the 2 ways if folks want to get more from me, either connect with me on LinkedIn, just go to my profile and make a connection request. Or if you go to my website, www.pksolutionsgroup.com, and there you'll find all of our resources to really help others become the best version of their own professional self. So you can get my book there. You can get in touch with me for any additional one-on-one help or to talk about the book if you want to. And you can get our podcast there. A lot of resources there and a lot of connections to my connections as well.
That's awesome. Congratulations on, the book, Still the Difference. Great title and lots of meat inside that's going to help business owners grow their top line, revenue, sales. So encourage everyone to get a copy. Patrick, last question before we finish up. What's that one question that I didn't get to, I should have asked you, that's going to be really meaty and you want to share with our audience?
I think you've asked some really good questions. I guess if I had to think about it, one thing I would leave folks with is, what can you expect when you get a book like Sell the Difference? You can expect and I told you to inspect what you expect. You can expect to have this great awakening. And the awakening will be first that I am probably, as a salesperson or small business, 9 times out of 10, using comparability factors, I'm not differentiating. When you're competing for business, it doesn't matter if it's the large Fortune 500 company you compete with, or if it's another solopreneur just like you. If you win, you win. If you lose, you lose. Wins and losses, they don't care who you are. You either win or you lose. So you're going to have an awakening about your own approach. And you're going to discover ways that you set yourself apart. You distinguish yourself as a business person, that your customer sees that you see things differently. Everybody can see the symptom. Everybody can see the runny nose. But what's the cause? Is the runny nose what you're going to treat? No, that's a symptom of a bigger problem. Maybe a cold, maybe a flu, maybe COVID-19. We've all had to go through that world of the pandemic. So you're going to see that your customers see that you are a difference maker in their life. And the final thing you're going to notice, and this is the payoff, is that your customers will become your greatest advertisement, because they will bring you with when they get promoted, when they change companies, when they know somebody who needs the services you offer, or when you change industries. The industries I mentioned that I worked in all are dissimilar. Procter and Gamble is consumer goods. Hewlett Packard is technology. NCH is industrial maintenance products. And you know what's really kind of unique? In the 30 plus years that I've been in business, I've never not met my objectives. How can I go from industry to industry to industry and do that? And the one constant was the ability to differentiate myself to my clients as their best kept secret in their arsenal.
Yeah. Love your passion and your energy and your expertise. Thank you so much, Patrick. Really good stuff. Uh,
Thanks
and
for having me.
thanks,
You have
folks,
you have
for
a great podcast, and I think that you're doing some great things.
you. Appreciate it, man. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Take care.
Bye.